Welcome back to Steelers Therapy. I'm your host, Ron John. We're doing power rankings post week 2 NFL games. What a week 2 it was. Huge shuffle. Lots of teams that we thought were good, maybe aren't as good. A lot of teams that we thought weren't good or much better than we thought. Let's do it. Let's go. Okay, first we have number 32. And we have the Carolina Panthers, no secret. Bryce Young looks like he's a bust. This team got him some weapons this year. Deontay Johnson is a pretty good wide receiver. He's certainly a number 2, can be stretched maybe to being a number 1. But Bryce Young, he's not making the right throws. His mechanics look awful. And poor Carolina traded up to get him. And, they're sitting him for Andy Dalton. Not what you want, but there you go. Panthers, number 32. Number 31, the New York Giants. No change again. Look, this team needs to rebuild. Daniel Jones isn't it. He can have some decent games, some decent moments, but this team is not good enough to compete. Getting rid of Saquon Barkley just made this team in order of magnitude worse. They're going to continue to struggle. They'll win a few games this year, but anybody who's in the Giants leadership needs to be thinking about the future and how they're going to go about actually getting a quality quarterback and a quality roster. So there you go. Giants, number 31. Number 30, no change again. Tennessee Titans. Look, their offense is limited under Will Levis. Will Levis had some decent games. I think his first couple games last year. But he hasn't looked sharp this year. Certainly, he can make some throws. He's got a halfway decent arm, but they don't have a lot of weapons. The Titans aren't good, really, on any side of the ball, and they're going to struggle to win games this year. They may win a few. There you go. Titans, number 30. Number 29. The Denver Broncos, down 5 spots. I think the theme here is Bo Picks. So Bo Nix, I think the 5th drafted quarterback in the 2024 draft. He's thrown 4 picks to 0 touchdowns. Didn't look good against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Certainly in the first half, he didn't. The second half, he kind of got things going a little bit. Was able to find some open receivers. To his credit, to mitigate things, he doesn't have a lot of weapons to throw to. Sean Payton isn't that good of a coach either. Sometimes you need to be drafted into a good circumstance. Bo Nix wasn't. And the Broncos, while they do have a good defense, their offense is significantly limited. So, Broncos, number 29. Number 28, the Chicago Bears. No change. Look, the Chicago Bears are just defense. Caleb Williams hasn't looked all that great. Again, you need to be drafted into a good situation. I'm not so sure Caleb Williams was drafted in a good situation. He looks limited in his couple games. Certainly this past game was better than his first game, but the Chicago Bears, they can play defense. So this team is going to go as far as the offense can take them, but it might take Caleb Williams some time to get there. So there you go, Bears, number 28. Number 27, the Washington Commanders, no change again. Really, these top or these bottom level teams have kind of been consistently bad over the first few games. So we'll call it lucky number 7. So the Washington Commanders did move the football in the game with Daniels, but 7 field goals to win a game. Look, you win however you need to, and they did win. And the Commanders are not a terrible team. Certainly, I think they're going to get better as Daniels gets more experience under his belt. They've shown they can move the football. Maybe the red zone is going to be a problem for them. You're not going to win a lot of games having to kick 7 field goals. Plus, it was the Giants, who are one of the worst teams in the league, so it's really hard to give them a lot of credit for that win. But the Commanders are just going to need time to get better and see who they really are. But for now, the Commanders are 27. 26, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're down 7 spots. And I'm calling a bust watch on Trevor Lawrence. Look, he's not been terrible since he's been in the league. I think he had one Pro Bowl season, although I don't give Pro Bowl seasons a lot of credit because of Pro Bowl backups and things. And a lot of times it's not real analysis of how good players are and aren't. It's just a popularity contest and a pedigree contest. But Trevor Lawrence has not been the generational talent he was touted coming out of college. And as you watch that game versus the Browns, they had a bunch of opportunities at the end of the game to win it or get back in it. Trevor Lawrence, certainly he can make some plays, but he just does not look like a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Doesn't look like he'll ever get there. Maybe he's not drafted in the best situation. Maybe it's the weapons he has around him, but I'm not terribly impressed with Trevor Lawrence. Not impressed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Think they're going to struggle this year. They're 26. 25. The Indianapolis Colts down 8 spots. Anthony Richardson. Do we call this a combine fake out? If you guys remember, Anthony Richardson wasn't one of the top prospects coming out of college until he went to the combine and tested off the charts. Then everybody wanted him. They wanted his speed, all these other things. I think he's only played 4 or 5 games, or maybe 6 games, something like that, between last year and this year, and he got hurt. But he doesn't look like he's ready to play. He looks like he needs to sit behind a veteran to learn a little bit more about the quarterback position. He came out as just raw talent, and they've got him starting. So I think the Indianapolis Colts are going to struggle while Anthony Richardson learns to become a quarterback, learns how to use prudent use of his legs, his arm, increases his accuracy. So the Colts are not as good as I thought they were going to be, and I don't think they're going to be all that good this year because Anthony Richardson needs time. So there the Colts are, 25. Let's go to 24. The Los Angeles Rams down 9 spots. This team looked good last year. I think they lost a close game to the Lions in the playoffs. Looked like they could, maybe make another magical run with Matt Stafford. But as you look at this team this year, they're just aging. They have problems. This team, Matthew Stafford, while he can still play, he's getting older. Cooper Kupp is getting older. You can see it now. He's hurt. Puka Nacua is hurt. Certainly he's young, but this is a team in decline. And I think things are only going to get worse for Sean McVay in the Rams. I like Sean McVay as a coach, but sometimes, you're the sum of all your parts. And when your parts are broken and aging, this is what you get. So I don't expect the Los Angeles, they're going to win some games and they'll be a tough out, but they're not as good as I thought they were going to be this year. So Rams, there you go at 24. 23, the New England Patriots. So the Patriots are going to be a tough out this year. They're not going to be a team that goes to the playoffs. They're not going to be a team under Jacoby Brissett that makes a run at a Super Bowl, but they're going to be tough to play. They're going to have a good defense. They're going to win some games, 6, 7, maybe 8 games this year. So again, they're going to be a tough out. They're well coached, but they don't have A-listers. They don't have pieces. And this is what happens a lot of times after dynasties. You're going to have a period there where you have to rebuild and find things again. So that's where the Patriots are. 23. 22. The Cleveland Browns up 3 spots. The Cleveland Browns, their defense is overrated in my opinion. Certainly they have great players on defense, and their defense is good. Don't get me wrong. They have a good defense. But this team is going to go as far as Deshaun Watson takes them. Deshaun Watson had a much better game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Wasn't a great game, wasn't a world beater game, but he started looking a little bit like the Deshaun of old. If that Deshaun of old comes back, I think this team can climb up the rankings. They could be a really good team. But you have a really bad-looking Deshaun and then a fairly decent-looking Deshaun Watson. And who are we going to get next week? So I think there's going to be time to see that. But again, everything's going to be up to Deshaun Watson and how good he plays. And there you go. Cleveland, number 22. Number 21, the Las Vegas Raiders, up 8 spots. Boy, that was an impressive win versus the Baltimore Ravens. at Baltimore. I think their identity is starting to emerge. They're going to play good defense. They're going to get after the quarterback with Max Crosby. And Gardner Minshew is going to do enough to keep their offense viable. Again, he reminds me a lot of Ryan Fitzpatrick, a guy that can have some magic here and there, that can play, that has all the tools, but maybe isn't good enough to be a consistent starting quarterback for in the league and for a team to pay them on a regular basis. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how good Gardner Minshew can be, how good this defense can be, but their identity is starting to emerge. There you go. Raiders, number 21. Number 20, the New York Jets, up one spot. I don't believe in this team. It's me. I mean, some people have this team ranked in the top 10. I think that's utterly ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers' age is catching up to him. He's not what he once was. He doesn't have near the weapons he used to have. They struggled with a bad Tennessee Titans team. They do have a good defense. Love Sauce Gardner, like some of the other weapons on this team, but I think they're going to struggle offensively moving forward. I just don't think Aaron Rodgers is the guy. And certainly he's better than Zach Wilson, but we'll see what this team can do. But there they go. Number 20. Number 19, the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, look, I know they're 0-2, and I have them up 3 spots after a loss, but I mean, you have to give them credit. It was a nice effort versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Joe Burrow looked good. I think they outplayed the Kansas City Chiefs on paper, but ultimately you've got to outplay on the scoreboard at the end of the day, and that's what the Chiefs did, and that's what the Chiefs continue to do. So give the Bengals credit. They get up to play the Chiefs. They match up well versus the Chiefs. But again, I don't think they're as good as a lot of people think they are. It's really just Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase looks like his head isn't right because his money isn't right. And that could be problematic moving forward. So Bengals, 19. Coming in at 18, the Seattle Seahawks, up 2 spots. Again, this is the same thing I wrote last week. They're just outside of good. Geno Smith keeps his team competitive. They have enough weapons to win. They're 2-0, but they beat some pretty bad teams in the Broncos and in the Patriots, which I wouldn't call the Patriots a bad team. So you could say that's a quality win. They won in New England, I believe. So this is a team that can scrap. They can play, but they're not going anywhere. This team is not making a deep playoff run. They're probably not going to get to the playoffs. And Geno Smith playing well was a comeback player of the year, but I don't think he's at the lower end of starting quarterbacks in the league. They're going to get beat eventually by a good team, but we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise us. So there you go. Seahawks, 18. 17. The Minnesota Vikings, up 9 spots. They're looking tough. I had this as a bottom 3 team at the beginning of the year, and they've come out and looked great. And they got a really high-quality win versus the 49ers, and they outplayed the 49ers. Sam Darnold looked terrible, and not in this game, but when he first came into the league. And he just looks like a different quarterback now. Is it because he's throwing to guys like Justin Jefferson? I don't know. They're 2-0. We don't want to get overly excited and put them in the top 10 and say they can beat anybody. But again, they're 2-0. They're doing all the things that you're supposed to do, and they're looking better and better. We'll see what they look like week in and week out. But good for Sam Darnold and good for the Vikings to come out and start punching people in the mouth and proving that they're better than what we thought they were going to be. So Vikings, 17. Coming in at 16. The Miami Dolphins, down 7 spots. Tua needs to retire. I don't see a long future with Tua in the Dolphins. He's in concussion protocol. Who knows how long he's going to be out for and what that looks like. The more concussions you have, the easier it is to get concussed. His style of play is conducive to concussions. And I just don't see a bright future for this team where, they can win Super Bowls. Certainly Tua has a great arm. He's had good chemistry with Waddle, with Hill. There's a lot of speed on this team. They can be dangerous, but they're not as good as everybody thinks they are. They struggled with Jacksonville. They got blown out by the Bills. They've got a concussed Tua. They're making headlines for all the wrong reasons. This is a team going backwards, in my opinion. They're at number 16. 15. The Arizona Cardinals, up 3 spots. Look, this is a scrappy team. I'm not a believer in Kyler Murray. Some people are. He is very athletic, and he's got a strong arm, but he's too short. And I'm not so sure that this is going to be a consistent team, but through the first couple weeks, they play Buffalo tough. They had a big win last week. They played well in both games. They're going to be a tough out. They've got momentum to continue moving up the rankings, but I'm still not a huge believer in Kyler Murray. We'll see. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. But for now, Arizona Cardinals moving up in the rankings, and they're at number 15. At 14, Atlanta Falcons. They're up 2 spots. They're only up 2 spots here for 2 reasons. Number one, I had them at 16 last week, which was probably generous given how they played at home versus the Steelers. And the game last night, they won the game. And it was a comeback win, but it didn't feel like they outplayed the Eagles at all. Certainly they ran the ball okay, but look, this is a team that I do think is a good team. They have a good roster on defense and offense. I think Kirk Cousins is going to get things going as he shakes off the rust. You can see what he can do when it comes to comebacks and being down in this league. So I think more time that they have to gel and come together, the better this team will get. I do think they're going to move up in the rankings as the season goes on. But for now, they're at 14. Huge win versus the Eagles at the Eagles. Coming in at 13, the Dallas Cowboys, down 5 spots. This is a wildly inconsistent team. They won 12 games the past 3 seasons. They looked really good versus the Cleveland Browns, a team, they can move up through the rankings and really be a juggernaut in this league. And then they get their brakes beaten off at home by the New Orleans Saints. They look terrible on offense, everything looked bad. To get beat that badly at home really says something about the consistency of a team. And I have no option but to drop them 5 spots and put them at 13. So we'll see what this team is or isn't. We'll see if that was a fluke. But for now, they're at 13. It coming in at 12, the Green Bay Packers. No love lost. Malik Willis gets the win. I think LaFleur is a good coach. He seems to know how to prepare and set up quarterbacks for success. Was worried about the Packers without Jordan Love, but if Malik Willis can play halfway decent and LaFleur can sort of manage the game, this is a team that can weather the storm without Jordan Love. I love what they did at the end of last year and in the playoffs. I still think they're a good team, and they'll be dangerous when Love gets back. So they're up 1 spot at number 12. Coming in at 11, my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers, up 3 spots. I think the theme here is no QB, no problem. The Steelers are doing what they have done since the end of the Big Ben era, winning by 1 score, kind of controlling the game, making sure that their defense is on the field the last drive to close things out. They're with their backup Justin Fields. Is he going to be their starter? Is he not? Is Russell Wilson going to be the starter? Either way, they don't have the QB situation figured out. The offense is not very good. Although it does look different and better with Fields, it's not a good offense. You can't put up 18 points and 13 points and beat teams that you're going to see higher up on this list. But boy, with TJ Watt in the defense, they can certainly hold good offenses to limited points and win that way. So Steelers coming in at 11. We'll see how good they actually are next week versus the Chargers team, who I think is a top 10 team in this league. And that's why I have the Chargers at number 10. I think this team is starting to emerge. Jim Harbaugh has come in, changed the culture. Justin Herbert is a good QB. They've got good runners with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. They've got good defensive players like Bosa. This is a team I think that can continue to ascend through the rankings. I really like everything about this team. I think the Steelers are going to have a tough go with this team because the Steelers are not going to be able to score 18 points or 13 points and win this game. And the Chargers have a halfway good defense. So we'll see. Both the Steelers and the Chargers are playing next week. It's a fork in the road. Which of these teams are for real, which are not, we'll see. So for now, Chargers at 10, Steelers at 11. Number 9, the Baltimore Ravens. They're down 4 spots. Look, I know they're 0-2. But this is still the Baltimore Ravens. They have a great roster. I think they're going to be fine. They're going to come back from this. Did we overbuy them a little bit? Did I overbuy them? I thought that they were a sneaky Super Bowl pick. Maybe not even sneaky. I thought they had a good chance of winning the Super Bowl this year. I thought they were going to come out on fire. And, you have to forgive the Ravens for the close loss versus the Chiefs. It's in Arrowhead Stadium, but you're at home versus the Raiders with Gardner Minshew. How do you lose that game? Maybe the Ravens are not as good as what we thought. I'm going to give them a little bit of credit. I'm not dropping them out of the top 10 because I legitimately believe they are better than every team that is lower than them on this list. But they've got to start winning games. They've got to start showing us that they are the Ravens. Otherwise, there might be trouble in the big city in Baltimore. So for now, Ravens, number 9. Number 8, the San Francisco 49ers. Had to drop them 6 spots. They lost to the Minnesota Vikings. We're not sure how good the Vikings are or aren't, so it's hard to really gauge how bad of a loss that was. But we can say one thing for sure. They are inconsistent. I mean, they beat the brakes off of the New York Jets last week, and they look like a juggernaut. They could do whatever they wanted, but I think that this is a team that can be really inconsistent. You can bring out some of those Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant traits, which is why he was picked in the 7th round. So, and sometimes I think that we overbuy on the 49ers defense. They're not quite as good is what we think. So, look, this is still a great team. They're still a powerhouse in this league. We'll see if it was a one-off game versus the Vikings. Maybe the Vikings are that good, but for now, have to drop them out of the, from 2 down to 8 because you need to make room for some of these other teams that are really coming up. So for now, 49ers, number 8. Coming in at number 7, the Detroit Lions, down 3 spots. This is still a good team. They have a great roster. Offense and defense, this is a team that is going to be tough to play no matter who you are. But I wonder, is Jared Goff good enough? All these teams that you see on these lists, maybe besides the 49ers, have mobile quarterbacks. Jared Goff is a statue in there, and I think that limits what they can do offensively, and it limits how they can keep teams guessing. Jared Goff certainly can deliver the football, has a powerful arm, but I wonder if Jared Goff is the limiting factor here of this team. And sometimes their coach is a little bit overly aggressive as well, and that can hurt them. So, we'll see if Dan Campbell can get things straightened out. But for now, Detroit Lions, number 7. Number 6, the Philadelphia Eagles. It's weird because they looked good losing last night, I thought they ran the ball well. They didn't have A.J. Brown in there. Jalen Hurts was able to find some receivers and play halfway decent. I think their demise was because of Nick Sirianni, to be honest with you. I don't think he's a good coach. He makes bad calls, bad play calls. He's overly aggressive, sometimes like Dan Campbell. And I think they're the better team than the Atlanta Falcons, but they lost. At the end of the day, you have to win on the scoreboard, and they didn't. So, and they lost at home. So it makes me think that this is a beatable team. They're not quite as good as what we thought. Again, second game of the season. We'll see if it was a one-off and what they can do. But also, give Atlanta credit. They're a good team with a good roster. They're not an easy team to play. So Philadelphia Eagles, number 6, down 3 spots. Number 5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chip on their shoulder, specifically Baker Mayfield. Now, I know Baker Mayfield didn't win this game outright for them, but Baker's been really good. He's a good enough quarterback to win with and be a good team with. They have weapons all over on offense with Godwin and Evans. They've got good players on defense. This is a team that's going to be tough to play. They're going to be fun to watch this year, and a team that I'm rooting for. I used to not like Baker just because I didn't like his attitude, and I have rivalry with the Browns as a Steelers fan. But this is a good feel story for a quarterback that was kind of ousted and that found another team and is really reviving their career. So, like the Buccaneers at number 5, coming in at number 4, the New Orleans Saints. This is a good team. They have been a buzzsaw to play. Whoever they have played, they've beaten the hell out of. To beat the hell out of the Dallas Cowboys, I did not see that coming. And I think we all, weren't sure. Okay, first game of the year, I think was against the Carolina Panthers. How good can the Saints really be? But this is a team I thought was going to be good this year. They have proven to be good. Derek Carr has proven to be a steady force. Alvin Kamara, 4 touchdowns. So again, I don't want to get overly excited about the Saints. They have to keep playing. We have to keep verifying that they are this good or not. But you can't not have them in the top 5 after these 2 impressive wins, especially the win versus the Dallas Cowboys at home and just beating the hell out of them. So good for Saints and their fans. They're at number 4. At number 3, the Houston Texans. Not the greatest game in showing versus the Chicago Bears, but nonetheless, they got the win. And that's what it's about. I really like the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud was a great pick. I think drafted into a good situation. He's got nothing but weapons, whether it's Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell. I mean, this kid, Stroud, has everybody to throw the ball to. Their defense is halfway decent. And DeMeco Ryan as a coach has a lot of energy. And this is a team that I think can be a threat to the Chiefs, especially in the playoffs. They're a team I wouldn't want to play. They can get hot and score a lot of points on you quickly. So they're up 3 spots. Really like where they're at. And we'll see what comes of them as they continue playing. Number 2, the Buffalo Bills. This team, I think, is getting better without some of the losses last year. And I think it's Josh Allen's team. I don't know that Stephon Diggs was toxic there, but maybe there was some internal strife with Stephon Diggs and how much he wanted the ball, how much he wanted to influence the offense. But now this is clearly Josh Allen's team, and Josh Allen is finding people to throw to. He's running the ball. They're running the ball well. They're playing pretty good defense. They've got a couple of impressive wins. They really beat the Dolphins well. I mean, the game was over at halftime. And this is going to be a tough team to play. With Josh Allen at the quarterback position, you got to have them as the second best team in football. So Buffalo Bills, number 2. Number 1, same. Nobody has to guess. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's what they do. Who can beat them? You have a Cincinnati Bengals team that matches up with them well, plays a great game versus them. Mahomes plays his worst game of his career, maybe statistically, and they still find a way to win. So how are you going to beat them? I think they haven't been beaten since sometime mid last season or late last season. There's 31 other teams in this league. Who is going to beat them? What's it going to look like? Who is going to dethrone them? Just because they get beat doesn't mean they get dethroned, but at some point, somebody's going to have to beat them, and whoever that is going to gain a lot of confidence from that win. But for now, they look unbeatable. They win when they don't even look good. So this is my top 32, my power rankings. What do you think? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Are the Steelers too high? Are they too low? Do you believe in the Steelers, in the crummy offense and the awesome defense? Do you think Justin Fields should keep the ball as the starting QB, or should we give Russ a chance? What do you guys think? If you haven't, please subscribe, like this, share it. It's always greatly appreciated. And once again, this is Steelers Therapy. I'm Ron John. We'll see you next time.